Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So today we're going to be doing a follow-up to yesterday's video. As you can see with the title, it states this: ExtraEmily effed around and found out after using DMCA takedowns to silence critics. So the streamer ExtraEmily is a successful one, someone who works with OTK, but she has been under a lot of fire recently in the past few months for various controversies, and some of them I think are warranted and some are not. But some of the warranted controversies and criticism she's been facing stem from stuff like this, where she was banned for one day on Twitch after running a very clear red light while streaming and reading her chat, which was a ridiculous situation. But this controversy in particular, back from January of this year, has been the one that has personally affected her the most. I think that's very clear by her reaction to this, where on stream, she admitted that her parents had spent $170,000 on her college tuition, and she stated that they had no demand that she pays this back, and instead she had no obligation to pay it back, that she didn't want to pay this back despite her own family saying this massive contribution to her education almost made them broke. She said she just didn't want to do it. And a lot of people took this really negatively. Her own chat was roasting her as a result of this. And this is the underlying story behind everything we're talking about in this video and in yesterday's video. And as a result of the backlash from that stream where she talked about the tuition, she would end up saying she's going to pay back her parents, and she's made several installments, including this initial one back in January where she paid $40-something thousand, and it's clear that she's doing this in steps. She's going to pay back her parents over the course of time, and again, a lot of people look at this and say, you're a millionaire, why aren't you paying this back in full immediately? But regardless, that is her plan, and of course, recently she made some more comments, or really led to more comments about this situation, where she called her dad, while of course streaming while driving once again, where she put her father on speakerphone and he made a joke. And this is something I recognized in my video yesterday. I said this was clearly a joke. He was teasing her, but he said basically, where's the college tuition? Have you paid it back full yet? Where she says, don't bring that up, I'm gonna get canceled. This was the headline of this tweet made by the account Yeet, who shared a clip of what transpired in her now deleted stream. And ExtraEmily, in response, did a DMCA takedown of this tweet. And things have really spiraled out of control from there. Here is a, I guess, active version of that same clip. You can check out my previous video where I shared this with the full audio. But basically, she's on the phone with her dad. He teases her about the college tuition thing, and she gets very triggered about it and hangs up on it. And this was shared by many accounts. Apparently this one, despite having nearly 1 million views on this tweet, was not important enough to get a DMCA takedown, unlike the previous account. But yeah, it's out there. This is something that's not unfamiliar to a lot of streamers. If you're going to stream your whole life, as ExtraEmily does, clips will be taken and it'll make you look bad. But she felt the need to DMCA take down the Yeet account, but not other accounts. It's very confusing what her goals are. But Yeet stated very clearly, after getting financial support, a dedicated financial support from Dan Saltman, who said he would pay for all the legal costs of this potential lawsuit. And Yeet said, release the claim or I will countersue or counterclaim with Dan's help and seek restitution and attorney's fees. He won't settle either. Last chance before this spirals out of control. And that's really where we left things yesterday, where there was no real response from Emily about this situation other than her DMCA takedown. But this morning, she did make a magnum opus on the situation that is eye-opening, to say the least. So she said this: I was holding off on saying something, but I would like to stand up for myself. Number one, I pay my parents in 6-month installments. It's May. The next payment is scheduled for June. My dad is trolling and joking. Which, by the way, to clarify two things, she has not DMCA'd my video sharing several clips of her from this year. And in my video, I talked about how I believed this was a joke from her dad who was trolling her. And I guess that's confirmed. And I also stated that she has not paid back the full tuition and she's doing it in installments. And she confirmed this also. So everything I said in my video so far has been confirmed by Emily. But she says this further. Number 2, I DMCA'd the clips because I knew Twitter has a hate boner for me and would absolutely blow it up, starting another massive hate train on an out of context clip where people would make assumptions about the truth. The internet did that anyways, so I guess it'll happen regardless. Love that. However, bitch, I don't regret DMCAing anyone when someone's main goal is to share a drama-baiting out-of-context clip that has no information and is most likely to start hate. Why would I keep a clip up if it's just promoting harassment and they're making money off of my unaltered content, with the crying emoji? Now, if they do share a moment where I truly F up, then take responsibility and let the clips roam free. Or she'll say she'll take responsibility and let the clips roam free. Okay. So this is interesting because she's basically admitting that she's not only DMCAing people, but also doing so because she doesn't want things to blow up on Twitter. That is not the purpose of DMCAs. It is to protect copyrighted content, not to silence people who are sharing clips of you doing things that clearly upset you in terms of how people react to those clips. I don't understand. The context is actually very full. The clip that was shared contained all the context. It just doesn't look good. Your father called you up, or you called up your father, and he said some jokes that people took in a certain way. If you don't like that, don't call your father on stream. Stop live streaming every moment of your life. Stop monetizing every waking moment of your life, and things like this won't happen, along with all of the other various controversies that Emily has been facing over the past couple of months. This is ridiculous. They're trying to say that a caption and a set of criticism that was provided for this tweet that was sharing the clip is somehow out of context and only made to start hate. Well, maybe people are criticizing you for a clip that makes you look bad. Is it really that hard to digest? I know other people who are clearly friendly with Emily and OTK who have come out and said, this wasn't a good decision. Again, let's not even focus on the legal aspects, because many people make the case that she wasn't legally in the right for making this takedown, and this tweet, by the way, makes it even more clear. But even if she was in the legal right, was it the right thing to do in terms of common sense? No. Everyone knows this. It's the Streisand effect, okay? This clip that likely would have been forgotten about in a few days is now becoming a center of controversy. It is now being used as a situation where ExtraEmily is using DMCA takedowns to silence people repeating her own content back to her. That's not a good look, and this was a massive mistake. But let's continue. Number 3. It's been exhausting seeing all these harassing comments, clips, and videos towards me on a clip where my dad was just trolling me. I want to stand up for myself and stop misinformation from spreading. And I also ask that people on the internet take these clips with a grain of salt. Thanks. Again, this is just a clip sharing a portion of her own stream. And now she's trying to claim that it's spreading misinformation while also claiming that there's nothing transformative about the clip that was shared. That doesn't make any sense. You're basically telling on yourself. You're basically saying that the clip is sharing a negative message about yourself. Again, If you don't want your father saying these things, if he has a history of trolling you on stream, then maybe don't call him. You gotta stop monetizing every single second of your life if you're so sensitive about people reacting to clips that you're voluntarily sharing online. The proof also that there's some shame here is that, well, ExtraEmily immediately deleted this clip. If you want a good piece of advice about the situation, if you thought that the clip shared from your own stream was spreading some sort of misinformation, instead of doing a shameless DMCA takedown, how about using your free speech to respond to it? Drop a reply with more context. Do a quote tweet. Or maybe do your own tweet on your own account. Instead, Emily does a DMCA takedown, which is clearly done out of insecurity and a desire to censor anyone sharing a clip from her own content that portrays her in a negative light. This whole situation is very shameless, and she deserves all the flack. And this, keep in mind, really reflects the response that was given to the account Yeet, who was the subject of this DMCA takedown. They say right in the actual infringement statement here that these clips are taken out of context of my live stream. I own my live stream content, and this account did nothing to make it his own. He just ripped the video off my live stream without changing it, and it is infringing on my work. Again, this is someone taking a clip of a public stream and then providing criticism. That should not be taken down. At the very least, outside of any sort of legal statements, it's very insecure and just a bad look. And they even acknowledge that under the statute they're using to file this DMCA, that they'll be liable for any damages, including attorney's fees, if they knowingly and materially misrepresent that reported material or activity is infringing. So they are setting themselves up for a lawsuit here that apparently Yeats, with the backing of Dan Saltman, are ready to make. This is a horrible idea. This whole tweet, this whole response is just doubling down on this DMCA takedown, and they're shamelessly saying that they want to silence criticism. It's very obvious that's what they were doing. But the replies on this are brutal. You see Omni saying this tweet might be worse than the clip you took down. 100% agree. Then Morgue Pie decides to share her opinion as if anyone asked. And it's the only reply that she replied to, by the way, where she says, I think the precedent you're setting of not putting up with BS drama and harassment is far more valuable than the ones they are whining about. Actually, I think it's a really bad precedent to abuse the DMCA system to silence people or sharing publicly available clips that make you look bad. Personally, I think that's bad. I think personally clamping down on freedom of speech is a bad idea, but I guess Morgue Pie, the legal eagle, the genius here, disagrees. Okay, as if that means anything, but other people saying that's not how the DMCA works, people citing the actual statute. This person saying, LOL, your dad always trolls you. How are people taking it seriously? Well, yeah, like people like me, for example, are acknowledging that her dad was trolling, that he was teasing her. What is she going to do? DMCA my video? Like, go ahead if you really want. Go ahead and try. I think that's a big mistake, by the way. But what is different from me and the people sharing this clip? Are they trying to say that there's something different? Because their reasoning isn't just, oh, I own this content. It's, oh, I own this content. It's making me look bad. Well, my video is making you look bad. Are you going to take down my video next? I don't know. I guess we'll wait. But other people saying you cooked yourself. You just made the point one statement after the clip got traction. That would have been posted and spread by Yeet as well. You're a public figure. You can't ask for the limelight and then abuse the copyright system once the attention you're getting isn't what you want. Streamers really be out of touch. This is going to get worse. Cool. So you admit to abusing DMCA takedowns and so on and so forth. DMCA is meant to protect copyrighted content, not manage criticism, context, or narrative control. Exactly. And this person says, sue them. For what? If they're upset about how that clip makes them look, maybe some self-reflection is in order. Maybe don't share every aspect of your life. Maybe don't stream every second of your life. And just, I don't know, don't put yourself in these situations. This whole thing is completely and utterly ridiculous. And this statement is blatantly hypocritical. It is openly admitting to abusing the DMCA system to silence critics. And it's shameless. The whole thing is shameless. They made a mountain out of a molehill, and it's their fault. There's no one else to blame for any of this. They don't like the way they look from their own actions, and they're trying to silence people sharing it. That's all there is to it. But for now, that's going to do it for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.